today I would like to share with you about the effective supervision for postgraduate students. So I will talk in English and Malay. Mix. So I do not know whether the audience is all Malay or some might be the what we call the international lecturer. So I just mix it. So this is what I found and what some of them want my practice, and some might not be my practice and I should practice it. So we will share and discuss. This is not the only effective. There might be some other style that you have, and you can share with us what do you think is more effective. So this is some of the tips that I found in the literature. So I make some literature about this effective supervision. So first of all, caring for students has to be the key. So this is the main point, that we must care about our student. We must love our student actually as a student, because they are our asset. So postgraduate supervision is a cornerstone of academic career in UKM. So you must have, as a lecturer, we must have a PhD student, or at least master by research student. So this is our life actually as an academic. So supervision is defined as an intensive, interpersonally focused one-to-one relationship between supervisor and student. So this is one-to-one relationship. So we need to give advice, we need to give help, tips, support, assistance, guidance, and so forth. Okay, a postgraduate student, some pressure on research student. So we believe that we have gone through all this. We know that there are many pressure on the PhD student or in a master student. So complete within the time allocated. This is the main concern of research student. They want to complete in the given allocated time. So as fast as possible, reduce the learning credit, reduce the tuition fees, and so forth. These are their concern or their pressure. So they also want to publish or present the conference paper. They need to support the families because they are adults, they have families, they have what we call a wife, husband, children, parents, and so forth. So they need support. They need to support their families. They need a job, or some of them are they're having a job. So develop a broader range of skills that will enhance their marketability. So they want to enhance their skill. That's why they enroll as a PhD student. So they also want to create new knowledge. They want to produce groundbreaking work, the work that are good and groundbreaking, keeping up with the literature. So they need to read a lot of literature, recent literature. They also need to write a thesis. They need to publish an article, and so on. So there are many other pressures on our research student. So postgraduate supervision is a complicated process that is influenced by many factors. So we know that the factors are social setting. We have different social background. We have personalities of the supervisor. Different supervisor has different style, different personalities. Personalities of the student. The student also determine the supervision mood. Some students behave like what we call not other good student. So we have to be smart in tackling our student. So the relationship that develop between them. So the relationship between supervisors and the students. The expertise of the supervisors and the students' personal or technical problem. Some student has personal problem, some student has technical problem. So supervisor, a good supervisor must be able to know about the problem, their students' problem, either they are good technically, we need to ask them, how good are you in this area? So if they are not good in the topic that we suggest, we must think about other topic that suitable for the skill of the students. Okay, I found from literature, they said that a strong relationship between student and supervisor will ensure the success of research study. So this is, I also agree with this, because we must have a good relationship between student and supervisor. So in the research process, an effective supervisor is critical and promote research progress. So interaction, quality, style of supervision, role expectation of student and supervisor are jointly important. Okay, characteristic of a good supervisor. So supervisor must be approachable and friendly. We must be approachable. That means student easy to get contact with us, to WhatsApp us, or to email. We are very responsive, supportive, positive attitude, open-minded, prepared to acknowledge error. So we must know that they are students, they are learning. So we must accept if they make an error. So comprehensive and well organized is motivating and demonstrate a passion for research. So don't ask the student, do your own. So this is a bad attitude for supervisor. Okay, these are 11 practice of what we, how to hide this. So 11 practice of effective supervisor. This by James Baldwin in 1999. So ensure partnership is right for the project. So make sure that the project student propose is relevant to your area. Don't try to what we call supervise the project that are not in your expertise. If student insists to do that, you should invite, you should tell the student that this is not your area. So you may ask the student to find another student, or maybe you co-supervise with other supervisors that are in that area. So don't try to explore. That is what we call student will might have problem later and you cannot help in that area. Or maybe the contribution given by student is not actually a contribution. So because you do not know that area very much. So ensure that the project is right. This is the main thing of effective supervisor. So make sure that you supervise students in your area. So get to know the student and carefully assess their needs. So identify their needs. Establish a reasonable or agreed expectation. So we must discuss with the student, or we must tell the student what is our expectation, and make sure that both supervisors and students agree with that expectation. Let's say we want, let's say this semester we tell that I'm expecting that you will produce one article for this semester. So we need to tell the student so that the student ready and work for it. Don't assume that students know what we expect them to produce in each semester. Okay, work with students to establish a strong conceptual structure and research plan. So we must work together with students to identify that the plan is workable. Tell them is this maybe too small, or the scope is too big, and not achievable, and the research plan, what should be a good research plan, and so forth. And then encourage students to write early and often. This is also very important. So every semester, make sure that we have target on publication. At least a student learn how to write at the beginning of their study. Maybe the first semester, they try to write maybe on conference paper or seminar paper, or maybe just technical report. But this is a practice for them to start writing. Okay, initiate regular contact and provide high quality feedback. So we must make sure that we have a regular meeting with students. Don't wait for students to approach us and ask for meeting. Some students might ask for meeting. Some students, they keep quiet. They just wait for supervisor to call them. So there are different type of students. Some students, and when they see the supervisor, or they ask, can I meet you? When can I meet you? So they will ask. They want to meet supervisor and discuss. But some students just keep quiet and we forgot. So we must have a timetable, maybe a fixed slot for our students, so that every week we will meet them at this time, at this day. If we miss, then we reschedule on the other days. But make sure that we have schedule for the regular meeting with our students. Get students involved in the life of department. This is also very important to make them feel that they are part of the university or part of the faculty, not outliers, or not what we call a team of the academic. So although they are a student, they are adult students, so they must be treated as an adults They must feel that the faculty is their faculty. It's not other people faculty. So we must get them involved in the department. Maybe if let's say we create a workshop, so ask them to be what we call this committee members. If we create a conference, ask them to be what we call the committee of the conference, so they will feel happy on that. Or maybe we ask them to design a good website. We know that the student is good in the web programming, for example. So we say, can you help us in designing our? So maybe we give some token, or maybe not, depend on the agreement. If you think that the work is good and you want to pay certain amount, so that is we appreciate, and they feel that they are part of the department. So inspire and motivate our students. This is also very, very important. We must always motivate, because during the PhD study, sometimes we feel demotivated as a student. Last time, we feel this, we feel down, we feel happy, and so forth. So we must inspire our students and motivate them. So help if academic and personal crises crop out. So they are human, they have family, they have wife, they have husband, they have children, they have parents. So we must realize this. They are adult students, they have personal crisis, they have family crisis, and they also have academic crisis. So, but don't go too much. Don't go too much. But we aware that they are having a problem. So we must concern about this. Take an active interest in student future careers. So discuss with them what they can do in the future and so forth. So carefully monitor the final production and presentation of the research of the project. I do not know how to hide this one. Can somebody help me to what we call hide this one? Okay, roles and responsibilities. Supervisors and supervisees have unequal relationship with each other, which change the project process. So early stage of studies, student is dependent on the supervisor. This is what we call acceptable. First semester, second semester, we know that they need a lot of help. So they are very dependent on the supervisor. So you must help them a lot during the first few semesters. So then when they grow, they join the second year. So students become increasingly independent as supervisor take on the role of coach. So at this level, we consider them as a coach. So we coach them to do the research, we coach them to do writing and so forth. So we behave as a coach. So then the next stage is student become independent, supported by the mentoring of the supervisor. Now we can what we call supervise with a minimum what we call consideration, because they are matured, they know what to do, they know they can navigate themselves. So this is the final stage. Student and advisor became interdependent in a peer-peer relationship. So at this stage, when student write article, we can just do minor check. We know that the student is already trusted. They are independent. They know what is right, what is wrong, what should be right, what should not be written in the article or in the thesis. But to get the final level is very, very hard. Sometimes students submitting the thesis, we have to go very deep, one by one, sentence by sentence, because the learning process is still not concrete. I mean, some students are very good. At the final year, we know that we are happy with them, they can graduate. But some students, although they are third year, fourth year, we still feel that they are not ready to graduate, but because of the time, we try their luck to get the PhD, to get the 555. So there are different type of students, different skill. So we must aware on this. So role and responsibilities. A good supervisor is neither a teacher nor a coach. So the primary role of a good supervisor is that of a mentor. So we must realize that we are should not be a teacher, we should not be a coach, but we should be a mentor. So we must support, encourage, build confidence, and be aware of the supervisor's changing need. Okay, general responses and activity. So first, giving guidance and advice. Supervision is a teaching. Do not expect the student to know everything. Do not say something like, you are doing a PhD or master. You are supposed to know this. So don't tell you are supposed to know this. So they come to a study, they need help, they need guidance, they need advice. So be transparent and communicate with your student to understand their concern. Treat your student as a future colleague or emerging scholar. So they will become your scholar later when they graduate. Then the second point is monitoring the progress of the research. So we must monitor the progress of the research, ensure submitting progress, set monthly semester goal to ensure that these progress reports are matched with goals that have been agreed upon. So this is also very important. We must ensure that we monitor our student progress. We know that what is the goal for each semester for each of our students. So avoid saying you are supposed to have done this. Make your expectation clear. Because some students, they think they can do whatever they want. They can make their own target. Yes, they can make their own target, but advise them what should be their target for each of the semester. They can propose their work plan, but we discuss with them, is this a workable work plan or what they expect to do because of the third semester or the first semester, second, and so forth. So we must make it clear as a supervisor. And the third one is initiating regular contact. So meet your student at least once a month. So I have done a survey on with student in my center. I will share with you what is the expectation of student, what they tell about supervision in my center. So during the initial phase of candidacy, you may need to meet with them more frequently. So as time goes, we can reduce the frequency of meeting our research student. So being aware of the supervisor's developmental needs. So I just need to be provided with academic and emotional advice. So they need guidance in the initial stage of research. So ask your student what he know, what he do not know, what we call workshop or course they need. You can suggest them to enter or to join any master class, for example, or maybe they are not good in writing, so you can maybe you if you find some information, just share with them. So please join this workshop, for example, or advise them. Some students they wait for you to what we call propose to them what are good, what are the workshop, what are the course suitable for them. Some are very proactive. They find something, they say, can I join this workshop? Or can I get paid for this workshop? Can university or faculty pay the tuition fees for this workshop, for example? So some students are reluctant to ask. We must take a proactive to offer to our students. So general policy activities. The fifth one is giving both oral and written feedback on the supervisor's work. Feedback should encourage and not demotivate the student. So this one I will discuss more on in the next slide. So we must give both oral and written feedback to our students. The sixth are ensuring ethical and professional conduct. Don't shout to your student. They are adults. Treat students with respect and as a mature student. So try to control our anger. Even we angry with them, we feel upset with the progress, but we must what we call concerned about the professional. We are professor, we are doctor, we are associate professor. So make sure that we do not shout to our student. This is not ethical at all. We must control. We should be able to control our anger to our student. So regarding about the ethical, I heard a story where some of lecturers or one on of a few lecturers, if they're not happy with students writing, they just throw the what they call the article, throw out from the door or throw out from the window. That is very, very demotivate, I think. So that is not good ethical as a supervisor. So don't do something like as a children. You treat them as a children. They are not children, they are adult students. So advising on workplace safety, equal opportunities, and career development. So guide them, advise them about this. So some students in my faculty, for example, they stay very late. And some students what we call going back around 1 a.m., 2 a.m. ladies. So I say be careful. It's dangerous as a lady. So make sure they have a friend. Don't go alone, for example. So advise them about the safety. They are international. Some of students are international, so they do not know the culture. So we just give advice on them to concern about their what we call their safety. So supervisor should follow the supervisory contract by meeting deadline and meeting with the supervisor on a regular basis. So we must meet our contract. We just break the meeting, cancel the meeting if it is what we call unavoidable. As much as possible, try to meet students as what we promised. Don't change the supervision meeting since that, oh, I'm not what we call, I'm not able to meet you because without giving a good reason why we have to cancel the meeting. So number 9 is keeping a written record of progress. So this also important. Some students, we feel that we already talked this many times. Why is this circle? When we get this type of situation, so we must keep the record. So we must write down what we discuss and what should be the next. If they do not want to follow, if students don't want to follow what we have agreed, then they must justify why they do not follow. It's not just they change it and then turn back, the issue is still the same. So we keep cycle at the same issue. So if we realize this, we must keep a record of the progress. So this is also hard for me to keep record if we have many students, we have a lot of work to do, but we can ask students to write what are the discussion, send to us to record that what we have discussed, what's the problem, what should be next, how to resolve this problem, and so forth. So when we come for the next meeting, we ask them what have you done to address this, and so forth. So keeping the record, recommending taught courses. So this also a good practice or responsibility for supervisors to recommend taught courses, because students do not know what are the taught courses available. So determining when to submit a thesis for examination. So most of the students will not what we call ask supervisors when to submit, or some students will ask supervisor, when can I submit? So we should tell them that you should submit your thesis in maybe in the 6th semester, for example. Or we know that after you complete this work, you can submit your thesis. So one of the indicator that we know that students are ready to submit, if the article have been published in referred journal, in good journal, this indication that the standard of PhD is accepted. Especially when your student managed to submit, let's say 1 or 2 Q1 journal. So we know that the PhD work is almost complete, or is acceptable contribution. Okay, number 12 is dealing with serious personal or institutional problems. Be there for the students, get help if you are unable, to assist. Some students might have financial problem, so help them to resolve the issue. It's up to you how to what we call help them, but at least you listen to their problem. Okay, the 13 response, restructuring meeting. Start supervisory meeting by praising your student for work that has been completed. So we must praise them. Then you give directed feedback so that they will know what to do next, and ask your student to list down all that has to be done before next meeting. So this is a structured meeting, and maybe you can add more on the structured meeting. So they know what to do next. They know what's the problem. They know what they should look at. And then reporting meeting. So ask your student to write out the main point of the supervisory meeting and email the minute to you. So you can ask all students, please submit what we have made, what is the issue, what we have discussed, and what should be the next, what is the achievement, and so forth. So reporting the meeting. Okay, that's a lot of a list, a general responsibilities and activities. This is I found for the some might be our common practice, or we know already. Some might be a new things. Even for me, I just share with you. Not necessarily I have been practiced. This is good for me. For the checklist that this is what we should do as a supervisor. So preparing for supervisory meeting. So read draft prior to meeting. Check the content, refer to the references that have been quoted, and check if the student has understood correctly. Some students, they just cite, but what they have cited is wrong. Maybe they cite to just a technical report, or it's just a conference that are not reputable. Some errors in the citation. So we must check on the reference too. So provide additional references if necessary. If students have problem with academic writing, provide guidance or ask them to seek assistance. If you are not good in writing, then maybe you are new lecturers, you are young lecturers, maybe you can ask to co-author the article with a senior lecturer to help your student and yourself improve in writing. So encourage reflection when you provide feedback. So in writing, my practice is I don't write a sentence to the student. I will say something that they need to change because of what. Let's say they write something, then I ask them why. What is the main point of it? Why you state this sentence after this sentence? So they have to think, make them think their decision to write the sentence, for example. Then encouraging the formation of peer support group. So this means that we make a group of supervision. Like myself, what I did is what I practice. So every week I will meet a group, all the students in my supervision. So they will present maybe one meeting, 1 or 2 or 3 students or 4 students will present their work one by one, but the others will give feedback. Let's say the student present and they have problem on this. So the others will give comment and suggestion, maybe read this article, for example, or they found that this guy do like this to overcome. So make a peer support group. So they know that they can discuss, they help each other. So this is very important because we don't want them to feel this is a lonely journey. PhD is a journey, but we want them to as a journey with a friend, a support group. It's not a personal journey, it's a group, research group journey. So number 17 is understanding cultural norm. Some students may not be comfortable meeting supervisor alone. For example, Middle East student, a female student, sometimes they bring their friend, sometimes they bring their husband to meet with a male supervisor. So we feel uneasy with this sometimes. So, but the culture is different. So we should be able to accept. And if we feel not comfortable, maybe we meet them in the area, open area, so that these are the supervisors also comfortable with that condition. So if this is the case, so arrange a joint supervision or meet in a common room. So supervise until completion. So don't give up before you try your best to help the student to supervise. So if you are planning to go on a sabbatical leave or planning for retirement, discuss with the student before taking him or her as your student. So don't just supervise 1 or 2 semesters, then you go for sabbatical leave. This is not good for the student. So inform student if you are going on leave and make alternative arrangement to continue supervision. But nowadays we have what we call Zoom, online meeting, so we can continue supervise although we are not around. So this is good about the pandemic issue. So we know how to do online meeting. Last time online meeting is very rare. Okay, providing an MSc or PhD graduate is an ongoing process requiring frequent meeting and guidance throughout the program. This was the role evolve is similar to the internship. So the supervision mode evolve. We change from one stage to another stage and so forth. So like we have discussed just now. So the goal is to produce a mature student, to produce an independent researcher. So let's have a look on supervisor and supervisor's expectation. So I have create a Google form for supervisors and students. I have distributed to students in my institution, in my what we call center, and I will share you yesterday the answer. And I hope that feel free to answer the questionnaire to evaluate our own supervision. We feel that we have done effective supervision and the mode of supervision and so forth, what our expectation and what we think about our supervision. So feel free, later on I will share. This is anonymous, don't worry. Just tell the truth. What is your practice? Do you think that's good? Or you can suggest to improve, how to improve the supervision. Later on we will discuss about this. I have 1 hour. What is the time now? Okay. Okay. The following issues require clarifying rights and responsibilities. Okay. There are a lot of issues. So identifying or finalizing the topic of research. So who is the role? Is it the role of supervisor or the role of supervisee? Describing research issue, deciding on the theoretical framework, helping or facilitating the preparation of research proposal, helping with oral presentation, familiarizing students with appropriate service and facilities of the department and the university, obtaining reading materials, helping reading, understanding and critically evaluating the reading material, facilitating funding, then helping to find part-time employment if necessary, helping with networking, encouraging conferencing and publishing, developing a schedule of research study, ensuring the need candidate adhere to the schedule, ensuring that the candidate adhere to the schedule, make sure that the student follow the schedule, assisting in the writing of the thesis, deciding on the standard or quality of the thesis, helping to prepare for the vice post, so for the viva. Then providing emotional, social, and other kind of non-academic support. So what is our expectation as a supervisor? So we want the student to have clear idea of what they would like to research on. So usually this is not easy. We are expecting them to have clear idea, but most students when they come, they blur about this, what to do. Even they do not know the topic, they do not know anything about the method. There are so many things that they do not know. So most of students are blur. Except students that you supervise since master by research or master coursework, you know them, you teach them all the skill of research. and then you supervise them during master. Then when they continue for PhD, they know a lot about what is your expectation, how to do research, how to do publication, and so on. This is easy life for you. So if you have a student that you have been supervised for master, they what we call, they promote to PhD, or when they complete to for master, they continue for PhD. So you can expect they have clear idea what they would like to do on the research. So to be self-motivated, to work consistently, to keep to appointment for a meeting, to take responsibility for keeping notes of meeting, and to work on the feedback given to them. So this is our expectation. Ideally, we want students to have all these skills: self-motivated, work consistently, keep up appointment for meeting. Some students, they just keep quiet if supervisor forgot to call the meeting. Our expectation is they will call meeting, they will ask for the meeting if they need a meeting. But unfortunately, this is not what we call happen. So supervisor expectations to complete on time. So we expect them to complete on time, take ultimate responsibility for their own work, to be independent, to be proficient in the language, to do their own or outsource editing and proofreading. So some lecturer might say, oh, this is your publication, this is your research, so you must be able to write a good paper and do the proofreading by yourself. So we need, as a supervisor, we need to help them in proofreading. It's not that we have to correct their word one by one, but we help them to improve their language on writing. Or maybe if we are not able to help them in English proofread, for example, we pay for the proofreader to proofread the article. Then look at the student expectation of supervisor. So to read draft before supervisory meeting, is this always happen to us? And do we have time to read draft before supervisory meeting? In my case, sometimes I read before supervisory meeting, but sometimes it's too many things, or the paper is too bad. So I need to call them to ask what the issues in the paper, ask them one by one to explain what's the main point why they say like this. So all is I usually what my practice, I always ask many questions to students so that they think and they find the answer and they rational their work. So to be readily available when there is a need. So they assume that like supervisors always available when they need. So this is normal. So we need to tell them that at this time we are very busy with teaching, for example, or very busy with the review what we call grant submission proposal. So we tell them that we cannot meet them, or we have too busy with this. Sorry to them that we cannot have meeting, for example. So they know our condition, because their expectation is we are always available to them. So as a supervisor, because we are being paid by university to supervise them. So they are our client. So to be collegial, open-minded and supportive. So treat them as an adult. They are as a colleague of us. So open-minded and supportive. So this is their expectation. Some students say, oh, I take you as my sister, or my brother. So they tell us, because we expect them to treat us as a supervisor, but they think that they treat us as their family, as their friend. So we have to treat them like that, actually. But as there is a border, so they cannot just simply do whatever they like without telling us. The right for supervisor, if we pay them as what we call, especially for GRA, if they want to take leave, they should tell supervisors. But since they assume that they treat us as a colleague, or what we call a family or a friend, They just do whatever they want. They forgot that we are paid, and we are what we call majikan. We are paid them for their work. I think do we have this what we call organizer for this, because so many people entering and they keep pop up. So to provide constructive feedback, to have a clear understanding of the research area, to facilitate supervisory meeting that enable exchange of ideas. So we must facilitate and supervisory meeting that exchange the idea. So they give some idea, maybe we comment on the idea, we give what we call contradict idea, or we give just to challenge the idea. Then to show keen interest in the research that is being conducted, to be sufficiently involved in their success to help them get the job. Sometimes they expect supervisor find a job for them. Then to be punctual for supervisory meeting. Sometimes we late for a meeting because we have other meeting before that, or we have other responsibilities. But to them, supervisor should be punctual for the meeting. But if we late, we should tell them what, or say sorry to them. But not every time we have meeting, we late for the meeting. Then the ideal supervisor must have must support the students' availability, interest and enthusiasm, knowledge and expertise in the field, interest in the students' career, good communication, constructive feedback, direction and structure, approachability and report, experience and interest in supervision, encouraging and reliable and punctual at the meeting. So this is the characteristic of ideal supervisor. And also respond to student as an adult. This is also very important. We treat them as an adult student. So support a peer-to-peer supervision. So students do not like a supervisor that, this is I get from the teacher. Students do not like a supervisor that too busy to be effective. Don't give excuse, I'm too busy, I don't have time to write your, to review your article word by word, sentence by sentence. Please make sure there is no error, blah, blah, blah. So don't give an excuse that we are busy with our job. Supervision is one of our job. So this is our task. We are being paid for this. So don't give excuse that we are too busy to meet with them. We don't have time. We don't have time to read their article, read their thesis. Poor feedback, lack of commitment and interest. If your student send you the article to review, so you just be very, very minor feedback, that is also not good. It looks like that you do not read thoroughly. The more feedback is better, but make sure there is a positive feedback. Tension, conflict within the supervisory team. In UKM, we have each student must have at least 2 supervisors. So make sure there is no conflict or tension between supervisors. So poor communication skill, conflicting or unrealistic expectation. So make sure that we tell students what is our expectation, and make sure that the expectation is realistic, achievable. Selfishness and disrespectfulness. So don't show our selfishness. Many people have selfish about the KPI. Even in UKM, we have a lot of KPI. We ask students to write the proposal to us to gain what we call to submit the proposal, FRDS, GUP, so many proposals. So every time we get what we call advertisement, we ask students to make proposal. So that is also, writing a proposal take time. So if that proposal is related to their study, is okay, but don't ask them too many times. You ask them, making a proposal is okay if this is for their own good. So you get a grant to support their study, to support their research, that is okay. But if you ask them too many times, that is not good, so that we are selfish. And then you ask them to publish. Their KPI is what we call is a journal. You ask them many times to submit to conference. And that conference might not what is reputable conference, or it's just any conference. You ask them every, so you can see, oh, you please submit to this conference, for example, too many publication. So you must what we call think about that before you ask your student to do something. So don't show that you are selfish because of your KPI. You ask them to do this, because this might not be necessary to them. So if let's say they already published maybe 5 articles, for example, and you ask them more, you can motivate them to write more, but don't push them too hard, because their KPI might be enough for their PhD, and they are writing what we call a thesis, or they are ready to graduate, but since you need more publication from them, so you just drag their submission, thesis submission. So this is very selfish. Then supervisor not up to date in the field. So make sure that you know your area, you are up to date with your research. That means we, as a supervisor, we must read article related to our field. Keep our knowledge updated. Then lack of experience as a supervisor. So if you are a young lecturer, of course you have lack of experience as supervisor. So you must team up with a senior lecturer to get more experience on supervision. So personality clash. So let's say your student, you don't like the person, or student don't like your personality, or you don't like student's personality. So personality clash. So avoid this. If you feel that you are not able to work with that student, you may be advise student to change a supervisor. So just open-minded, because we cannot work together. Can you find another supervisor? So just be gentleman on that. So advocate a master-slave relationship. Don't treat a student as your slave. This is master-slave. Please do this, please do this. That is not nice, because they are adults. So they are not our workers. They are students. So when issue about feedback, this is about the writing, either thesis writing or journal writing. Feedback is not well directed. Illegal writing, miscommunication, or some what we call plagiarism, wrong fact, for example, incomprehensible acronyms, too little feedback, too much negative feedback, or no positive feedback at all, or feedback only at the surface level, or feedback that does not encourage self-reflection. May I know what time I should stop?
11:30, Prof. 11:30.
Oh, 11:30. Okay. So I think I will end the talk around maybe 11:15, so that we can have a time for discussion. So conflicting feedback from supervisory committee. If you have we have a supervision for a team, so make sure that we are not conflicting each other. If there is a conflicting the idea or conflicting argument and so forth, so we as supervisor must discuss among themselves. So don't confuse students with our conflicting idea or school of thought. So providing quality feedback, use of sandwich technique. First start off with praise, followed by the concern, and ending with the praise again. So we praise them, puji, then kita comment, kemudian kita puji lagi. Because this to motivate them, to ensure the writer is not discouraged or demotivate. So as a supervisor, actually we need psychology. Most of us do not have a psychology background. We do not learn how to be a good supervisor. Sometimes the way that we talk, we think that it's okay, but that might discourage our student. So if negative or critical feedback is essential, it should be written as a suggestion. For example, you could have a look at this paragraph and see if it links to the main argument. We know that this paragraph is there is no connection between sentences, or there is no connection between paragraph. So we need to say in a nice way. They say you can say that, look at this paragraph and see if it links to the main argument, or look at this sentence, can you see the what is the main argument that connect with these sentences, for example, or why do you choose this word to explain this, what do you mean by this sentence? So we tell in a very polite way, not to motivate them. So in order to avoid the issue of illegible handwriting, so electronic feedback should be the form. Sometimes our handwriting is very bad, difficult for students to read, to understand, and sometimes we use short form. So nowadays, where we have a word that you can use a review, just on the review menu, and then you can comment on that article that student write easy, and then you know what is the response from the student and so forth. Then back feedback such as redo, not clear, read more should be avoided. They are not well written and will not benefit the writer. So when you say not make sense, redo, not clear, this is our very common. I also do like this, but I explain to my student, if I say like this means blah, 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 because sometimes we don't have what we call time to write very long, blah, 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 blah. So I say, if I say redo, that means the sentence is not correct or not make sense. Last time when I think first year, my former supervisor say not make sense. So I feel very upset with that. But I tell my supervisors, why do you say this not make sense? And he explained to me why he said that, and then I said, oh right, that does not make sense. But what I feel when he say not make sense in our language, tak masuk akal, ayat tak masuk akal. So saya dah fikir macam-macam, tiba-tiba kata tak masuk akal, so very upset. So but we need explanation. So student need explanation. If say redo, why ask redo? What's wrong with that sentence? So because if just the sentence, that means this is not directed, student do not know what to do. So if you say rewrite this sentence, highlight the maybe the point, the word that make this system this sentence unclear. So more directive. Okay, feedback should be a dialogue and not a monologue. It should be provided in a conventional tone. So instead of striking out a paragraph, the supervisor may write, do you think that this paragraph is necessary? So ask the student. So you make a circle, tell them, do you think this paragraph is necessary? What is maybe you can ask, why do you include this paragraph in this section, for example? What do you want? What is your main point of this paragraph? So if student able to justify, then it's okay. But sometimes we are running out of time, so we just strike off. But that is not a good feedback. So feedback should be a peer-to-peer model of supervisory relationship. So consider, let's say, a co-worker, our friend. One would not generally cancel a paragraph in red, but instead write a dialogue comment. So the supervisor should be treated with the same care. So if you work with other co-author, we cannot just simply cross their sentence or just say not make sense, not make sense. So we will discuss with our co-authors. So treat them as a co-author. So discuss feedback with the supervisory committee before giving the feedback to the supervisor. If we have more than one supervisor, then we discuss how to handle. So usually in my practice, if I'm the main supervisor, so I will tell, okay, I will read this section first. Then after I'm done, I will pass to the second supervisor, co-supervisor, to review it. Or if I'm the second supervisor, okay, we discuss, okay, main supervisor will read this section or this article first. After you're done with that, the student already improved, there are no more changes. then I will do my own role to review that article. Of course, it will take time, but if you do parallel review, the same version, then it might be clash. So this supervisor asked to do something, the other supervisor will ask to do something. But let's say assume that I would like to ask this to remove. The other supervisor asked to add some sentence on this paragraph. So that is a conflicting feedback. So we try to avoid this. So feedback should be prioritized, guiding students on what should be done next. So we give feedback so that students know what to do. So feedback should encourage students to revise, rethink, and reflect on what they have written. So try to avoid write a sentence for your student, because we are training them to write a good sentence, to write a good article. But at one stage, if students still cannot learn, we are running out of time, maybe we can write together with them. So you can have online meeting or meet with them and write the sentence in front of them. So they know, oh, why you write like this? Why your sentence is not clear and so forth. So make them understand why you need to do the changes. So Viva preparation. Advise them on, so I almost finished. Advise them on the research presentation skill. Advise them on focus only on the key point during the presentation. Do not clutter the PowerPoint slide. Ensure the slides are effectively designed. Practice presentation. Formulate possible questions. So these are some advice that we need to do for when our students are waiting for the Viva. So guide the student to answer questions politely in the following manner: non-confrontational, justify idea and conclusion, present ideas firmly but constantly, ask them to present idea very firmly and do not become argumentative. Student can agree to differ in the Viva, but it should be substantiated. Examiners like candidate who can accept criticism. So make them aware about this, because some students what we call they too defending. They will not listen to the examiners. They just want to defend their thesis. So that create a long Viva. That will create a long Viva time. So make sure they know what they should do, what they should not do during the Viva. And please check their PowerPoint slide, because some students, they have too wordy. Nobody look at the slide. So when student has a very bad what we call slide, a very bad presentation, that reflect our supervision quality. It shows that supervisor do not review the slide, do not give advice for student on the Viva. So ensure student is familiar with the relevant section in the thesis by referring directly to the text. So make sure students know about the section, what they wrote in the thesis, because they need to open the thesis whenever examiner asks a question. Show enthusiasm for their work during the Viva. Make sure you concerned about their Viva. Be reflective, make eye contact with the examiner. So make sure during the Viva, supervisors are there. So make sure that you give support to the student. So don't just do your own work without concern about the question during Viva. But you cannot help your student. Just give moral support to our student during Viva. So have mock Viva with the supervisor committee. So supervisors are responsible to advise to have mock Viva with the student, or what we call peer-to-peer Viva. You have Viva, what we call a supervision group. So you ask students to present and the other raise a question. So there's a practice for the Viva. So dealing with difficult question and difficult examining, how to deal with difficult question, or how to deal with difficult examiners. So do supervisor need training? Supervision training. So some supervisor indicate that the way they supervise was based on their own experience as students. So we learn from our supervisor. this is true for many of us. Supervisor only had their own experience as benchmark and very often lack the theoretical underpin for postgraduate supervision. So we learn from experience. For example, I myself. So when I complete my PhD, I went back to UKM. Then I have the application. So I just took one of the candidate and I just supervised using my own style without any training on the supervision training. So I just supervised based on my experience as a PhD student. So some supervisors focus only on the thesis or dissertation and were not aware that the research degree include mastery or generic skill. So we do not aware that students need to learn something, not just submitting a thesis. So as a result of this, students are not given the support to reach professional maturity. So each student, for example, student not feel adequately trained and has difficulty coping with her new role as a research supervisor. So we must make sure that students are given reach to the professional maturity. So as a conclusion, we can say that supervision training is very important, especially for young supervisors. So some most important attribute of supervisors are friendly, knowledgeable, approachable, competent, and flexible. So these are the 5 most important attribute of supervisor. So this is a good reference. If you want, I can share with you, or you can just Google. You get the handbook of postgraduate supervision, edited by Vijay Kumar, and this published by Ministry of Higher Education in 2011. So I found this article and I used some of the point from this. I took from other resources, but this is the main resources that I use for this talk. Very good what we call handbook as a postgraduate supervision guidance. So with that, I end this talk. Thank you very much. I open for discussion or question answer to the floor. Should I unshare this?
Okay, terima kasih Prof. Dr. Masri Ayub. Ada sebarang soalan daripada hadirin sekalian? Salam Prof. Ada soalan di chat daripada Prof. Azamri Mansur. Can you give some tips or advice in dealing with supervisees who is a Dato' or Tan Sri?
I have no experience on this. Anyone can share? Anyone can share? I think Dr. Huda has one of Dato' as a student. But, I don't have experience on supervising what we call top men as Dato' Tan Sri, but we have to tell, we respect them as a big man. Then we have to tell them this what we call our expectation, what he should do as a professional. So because supervision is a professional, they are somebody out there, but in university they are students. So we respect them like we respect our student as what we call as adults. So we respect them as a big man or top man in the society. But as a student, what he should do. So we tell them our expectation. Then be frank. Don't what we call, since they are top people, then we afraid to ask them. But don't scold. Even we cannot scold other students. How can we scold a top man? But it's very hard situation if this student is not perform well. Then this will create an issue. If they are good student, it should not be a problem. But if it's not performed, then we should tell, be frank that you must achieve this. If you fail, let's say, to do the proposal defense, or you're not able to do this, I think I'm sorry, I have to give warning. For example, we treat them as a normal student with due respect, but we must be professional. This is what I think. Any other question? Let us see the supervision quality. Is there any question before we go? This I share with you the result from the survey.
Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Ya, kesalam. Macam mana saya tak nampak muka orang?
Yeah, there is actually one query. What is the age limitation for the PhD students?
What do you mean limitation?
I mean, in other some countries they have age limitation, like after 45, they still, I mean, they cannot enroll to the PhD. So, is there any limitation like in UKM?
I don't think we have limitation on age as a PhD student.
Because this is actually serious. You know, if a student is more than 50 years old, and then a young researchers, how he can, you know, the trade, that there will be, you know, a lot of, you know, the, if we still manage all the rules and things as you presented, but still there will be some gaps with the student and the supervisors. So what will be the standard age for the PhD students?
Can PPS answer this question?
Like in Europe, in US, they strictly maintain 45.
I studied in Nottingham University. I saw Big Ben, I think is CEO, is retirement age. I think he has done few PhD actually. It's an old man, but he like to study. I don't know, this man enjoy studying. So he enrolled as PhD student. It's old man, I think more than 60 years old, but still I think doing well, because studying is what we call a long life journey. If they like to study, but they are not study to get a better job, they study to get knowledge. So what I presented just now is for young students who are going to be a researcher, but there are students who just enjoy studying and they just to fill up their time and do something. Maybe it's they are very ambitious. They want to do double PhD, or we should not. But if they want to enroll, even they are already 55 or 60 years old, we can maybe discuss with them why you want to study. So we know their target, we know what their expectation of doing study. So as a UKM, I do not know. I do not hear any age. PPS organizer, can you answer this? I think Shikin is here. Shikin boleh jawab tak?
And also, if a student taking long time, it is not happened with me, like more than 12 semesters, then what will be the scenario for supervisors, how they can help for them to submit?
Okay, ideal semester is graduate on time, that is seven semester or less. So if student what we call register more than 7 semester, so we do not call it graduate on time. So I think the maximum is 12 semester. Then after that they need to ask the request for extension. So they have, and I think this one we have to check with PPS. I'm not from PPS, so I'm not aware with the what we call the guideline. Just now this morning, what we call a postgraduate guideline. You can refer to PPS about this, or you can ask the faculty who handle the postgraduate student. So they have a maximum semester. If student has what we call problem, maybe health problem, they can extend to many semester, because this is what we call genuine reason. But if student normal case, they can extend, I think, 4 semester. So that means we have to have maybe 16. This PPS can correct this. But I have, from my experience, I think 2 students who I think reached 12th semester, but this student has problem. This is a good, what we call a brilliant student, but there's many personal problem. I have to find him in the Facebook, and so, because it's MIA, so I try to help this student, ask him what is the problem. Do you interested to continue? He said he afraid to meet with me because he has problem, he has no progress. I say, what's the problem? So I try to help, and finally, alhamdulillah, he finished PhD, and he's already worked in the field that he enjoy related to his PhD. And also have another local student, quite weak student, and finally he managed to complete also. But if student, to me, if I give a student first, second, third semester, they should do the proposal defense. If until third semester they cannot do, so I want them, please do in fourth semester. 5th semester, if they still cannot pass their proposal defense, then I ask them to decide whether they want to continue their study, or they change the topic, or they change supervisor, make some changes, because we know that they are not able to proceed with that with the topic or with our supervision. So I ask students to what we call to make a change. In our way, we say hijrah. So I don't want them to drag until 6th semester, 8th semester, nothing, no research, no output at all. So that wasting our time, wasting their time, wasting their money. So this is my personal experience, that I always, when student has problems, so I ask them to decide. They like to continue their study. What's their problem? If they have personal problem, please apply for what we call tangguh pengajian, because they have 4 times to tangguh semester. Am I answer your question?
Prof, ni Shikin ni, tadi Prof cakap apa tadi? Saya tak dengar lah Prof.
Tadi tanya pasal age limit for PhD student. Ada tak?
Age limit? Age limit, tak ada lah pula, tak pernah tengok dekat dalam buku.
Tak ada kan?
Cuma tanya PS lah kalau ada guideline. Sebab kita tak ada lah. Sebab tak ada lah pula, ada ke umur, tahap umur? 45 ke, 50 ke, 60 ke? Saya tak pernah dengar lagi sebab tak ada lah orang, tak ada lagi yang apa veteran minta sambung belajar buat PhD yang terlupa kalau dah pencen.
Dekat luar negara ada.
Kat luar negara ada, tapi saya ada juga dengar daripada Unicell hari tu, saya tengok dia dah pencen dan dia baru dah pencen baru dapat PhD. Tapi saya tak sure lah, yang UKM saya tak pernah nampak lagi lah case tu.
Dia macam hobi untuk belajar tu.
Saja nak fulfill dia
saja nak
kan. Macam tu.
Okay, Prof. Thank you.
Yeah, alright. Thank you for the question. Any other question? Or I share the what you call?
Salam. Rasanya dari segi PPS pun tak ada, as long as it's within the requirements of university, there's no age limit lah for PhD. Prof, ada a few more questions in chat. There's 2 questions from Dr. Wandip Kaur. The first one is, what is the one advice you would give young lecturers when supervising students based on your experience? The second one is if we have students who are not able to communicate in English and because of this are too afraid to meet regularly, then what would you advise?
I jawab yang kedua dulu if student has a problem with English, I have experience. Student, my first student after I graduated from my PhD, I get this student is very bad in English, very bad in writing, and the research is the progress is very bad. So what I tell him is I make what we call reverse psychology. So I ask him to write an article. So he write the article, and then the article is very bad. I cannot comment at all, very bad. And I put this article on top of my corner. So every time corner of the table, every time he came for the meeting, he saw the article, but he do not ask anything. So I just want to show that this is too bad. So this is what is reverse psychology to him. Then he read a lot. So what I want to tell you that he read a lot. He read articles, and from reading he learned, and he's very good. After that, he managed to publish many Q1 journal from his master by research. I asked him how he improved his English. He told me that he only read a lot. He do not enroll any class. He just read. By reading, he learned more from his reading. This is one of student. I think UKM has English class. You can send recommend student to join the English class. I do not know. It's hard actually. It's hard communicate with students who cannot speak English. Some students might use translator, but to me, I try to avoid taking students who cannot communicate in English, because that will create a lot of headache. But if you want to take them, make sure that you patient enough. You can guide them, because hard to communicate. So before I agreed to supervise students, usually I call for interview to evaluate can they speak English, how good are they in what we call oral communication, written communication. I give some tasks to them and ask them to make a simple proposal, whatever what they understand. So I make online interview with all my students that will register, the candidate that want to be under my supervision. So I will select them. So I do this because I have a research grant. Then I will pay them. So I want to select a good student. So this is what my personal experience to choose a student, so that I will to avoid taking a student who cannot communicate in English. We know that we are academic, we need to teach them, we need to guide them. But if they are not in communication, they cannot speak, how can we supervise them? I get one student actually that he can communicate, but writing is very bad. I do not know. He knocked my door. No, I'm your new student. I quite shocked because I very rare I take student who that I do not know. I do not ask for interview and so forth. So suddenly the student knock the door and tell me, "Oh, I'm your new student." But that's too late for me to reject. So I had to go through facing a lot of problem with her, because he cannot write English. So very bad English. But alhamdulillah, she already finished. I forgot the first, Dr. Wandi, can you explain what do you mean by that?
Just your personal advice, Prof, for young lecturers like me. Kalau kita nak supervise students baru kan, so we are still so new. So what would you advise us?
All start from new. This one macam macam parenting lah. kita semua belajar, kita ada family, kita ada anak, so macam mana kita nak ajar anak kita, is learn from experience. So if you feel that you are not confident to supervise student, so you ask co-supervisor. I think now UKM do not allow young lecturer to be main supervisor. So you need to get mentor. Main supervisor will be a senior lecturer. Then young lecturer will be co-supervisor. But the role of supervision, even it is written as a main, the young lecturer will take a role as a main actually. And what we call this senior lecturer will try to mentor the supervision. So usually do the what we call team supervision. That means make the student together with the senior lecturer, so that you know the style of what we call supervised student, how they ask, what are the issue in the supervision, how to search for research gap, how to do writing, all these are you learn from your mentor. So find a good mentor to learn this style of supervisor. Maybe you take a different mentor, so that you learn from multiple source. If you take the same mentor, you will learn from one person. If you take different mentor, maybe this student, or you learn from this mentor. The other student, you learn from the other mentor. So you learn from multiple person. That is good for you. This is my advice. But my personal what we call experience, when I graduated last time, I have no what we call mentor for supervision. So I just take my student and supervise them based on my style. Alhamdulillah, my first student is excellent student actually. I'm proud with him because I supervise him as what we call master by research. So he success with I think 3 Q1 journal from the master by research, and then he continue as a PhD student. I think he published about 5 Q1 journal from his study. So he's very excellent. I'm proud with him because he start from zero. He start from very bad student, bad English, but I helped him or managed to turn him to be a good researcher, and now he's a lecturer in the Australia University. He's a very excellent student, and I'm proud with him. So maybe for young lecturer, you can start with what we call master coursework, master mixed mood. You can be a main supervisor for that. So you learn from that, and then you co-supervise as a for PhD student. This is what I can advise to you. But during my time, I just take the student and then do the supervision based on my experience as a student.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right.